Hello, Galileo. Nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me. Of course. Let's begin. Now, can you tell us a bit about your background and what sparked your interest in psychology? Well, certainly. I've always been curious about the mind, the human mind, and how people think and behave. Just like my curiosity about space and astronomy and things like that. I believe that psychology offers a very interesting way into the mind of how we think and how the universe aligns with our understandings of many things. Very nice, very nice. Now, how do you plan to incorporate scientific methods into your teaching and research in psychology? Well, I believe that using evidence and data to understand the phenomena around us is very important. Just as I relied on my observations of astronomy and the universe and the stars and the planets to make scientific judgments, I will use that same way to teach my students. Very well, very well. Now, how will you handle skepticism and challenges to your ideas? I see that you've been challenged before. How will you handle that now? Well, yeah, funny story about that actually. I believe it was the Protestant church that they threw me in jail because of my discoveries. I was going against their views and their beliefs of how they thought the universe was perfect and there were no blemishes. That was until I made the groundbreaking discovery that there were, in fact, blemishes on the sun, for example. The sun was not perfect. There were blemishes, there were hot spots. I also realized that the trajectory and the way the planets move is not in a perfect circle. And I also realized that there's more than one moon. Jupiter had a couple of moons. So how can the universe be perfect with all these discoveries that I found? But the Protestant church didn't really like that. So they threw me in jail. But we've grown. I've learned from my time in jail. I've learned to put things in a better perspective, basically. Very well, very well. Now, how do you plan to bring an interdisciplinary perspective to your work in the field of psychology? That is a great question, actually. So, my background in astronomy has a very unique perspective, but I'll draw on ideas from different fields so I can better understand, help myself better understand, and help the students I'm teaching better understand how to navigate through my teachings. Basically, I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Very well, very well. Now, can you give us an example of a research project you would like to pursue in psychology? Hmm. Now, that's a very good question. There's a lot of things I would like to pursue in psychology, but I guess I'll say I'm pretty interested in studying how people make decisions when they're not too certain of what to do. I think that will not only benefit me, but that'll benefit the students that I'm teaching because I know it could be difficult to make decisions under pressure or when you're not too sure of what exactly the outcome will be. So I want to see if there's a way that I can, study that, put that in a study and see if we can, expand on what it is, on why that happens and how we can better move forward if we're ever put into a predicament like that. Because the world is full of many problems, I'm sure you're aware. And sometimes we just don't have the answers to these problems. So I'd like to, develop a range of students so they're able to make decisions under pressure, even when they're not too sure of what the outcome will be. Because I believe that's very important. Very well. How do you plan to engage and inspire students from diverse backgrounds in your classes? I'm glad you asked. Well, I'm very big on everybody being included, inclusivity, and I'm gonna make it my duty to make an environment that's very open and welcoming, where everybody feels respected and everybody feels valued. I'll encourage students to share their perspectives and experiences on a bunch of different things because my goal is to make a very rich learning environment so we can actually develop students to go and face these real world problems that we're having. I'm very big on that because I don't want any student to feel like they couldn't talk to me or I don't want any student to be a shell of themselves because they're not too confident in what they're doing. I want students to express themselves right or wrong. So if they're right, we can applaud them, and if they're wrong, we can correct them and put them on the right path because this is our future. That's our future leaders, our future politicians, our future business people. I just want to be that stepping stone that lets them express themselves the best way they can. Very well, very well. Now, as a mentor and educator, what do you see as your role in supporting students? Well, pretty much my role is to guide and inspire these students to, reach their full potential. I could have easily been another person in the history books that didn't make any impact. But even look at me, I didn't create a telescope, but I made the telescope better than what it was so I could look at planets in depth, in better depth, have a better perspective of what our universe looks like. If I never had that drive and passion in me to develop an already good invention by making the telescope better, then I never would have been able to see for myself that the planets are actually, in fact, not perfect. And there's a lot of imperfections in there. Not saying it's a bad thing, but that's just the reality of things, you understand? Well, that was very good, Mr. Galileo Galilea. I'll be sure to look at your application and send it to the Board of Trustees. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.